Hello guys, today we're going to review the movie Quezon, directed by Jerrold Tarog and starring Jericho Rosales. But before we continue, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video, comment, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you'll be updated when new content comes out. For the last decade or so, the political discourse in the Philippines has been marked by a severe lack of nuance due to lack of critical thinking. All sides look at the world in terms of black and white and have an us versus them mentality. They picture themselves as the epitome of morality and brand those who do not belong to their ranks as idiots or completely evil. They cancel people simply because of the votes they made during elections. What these people don't realize is that human existence is complex. It cannot be reduced to simple binary oppositions through simplistic logic. All sides forget that the real world is complex and that human life is all about nuance. That the true mark of critical thinking is the ability to appreciate nuance. That the world is not black and white but is actually in shades of gray. And Jerrold Tarog's Quezon, his biopic about the former president of the Philippines, is all about nuance. That is why I consider Quezon to be the best among Tarog's Bayani trilogy. Quezon is Tarog's magnum opus. What struck me the most about the movie is the complexity which Tarog achieved with the portrayal of Manuel Quezon. Tarog's Luna almost became superhero comic booky with how the characters were split in terms of virtue and the lack of it. Goyo, on the other hand, was the low point in terms of writing as the movie gave us a completely unlikable Del Pilar and a bloated runtime. Jericho Rosales' Quezon is a complicated character who can easily shift from hero to villain in seconds. The audience is given a peek to the scheming brain of Quezon, which makes him the most human among the Bayani trilogy protagonists. The movie is an excellent character study that doesn't paint Quezon like a conquering hero but a politician a few inches short of being a James Bond villain. In fact, what came to mind is Dr. Evil from the Austin Powers franchise. There were scenes where his demeanor and conspiring crossed into Dr. Evil territory, and the sometimes comical tone of certain scenes definitely strengthened my perspective. Interwoven into the film is another film, one made by the daughter of Joven Hernando, a journalist who is a close friend of Quezon, which was designed as propaganda to promote the candidacy of Quezon, which will be echoed a few decades later by Ferdinand Marcos Sr. through the movie Iginuhit ng Tadhana. The movie, which tried to capture the aesthetics of a silent movie from the era, will likely be a seed for discussions on historical revisionism and fake news. The movie shifts from the supposed real events to the events in the movie adroitly, similar to the shifts in morality of Quezon, which is laudable. Rosales plays Quezon well. His well-chiseled face is perfect as the ladies' man president. The audience will certainly believe that he wouldn't need to rape women because of his face, a point which was actually important in the movie. While his attempt to capture the accent of Quezon is commendable, there were times when he sounded like Andy Kaufman's Tony Clifton. Monconfiado plays Emilio Aguinaldo again and demonstrates why he could be the next Eddie Garcia with his versatility and ability to bring gravitas to the role. Here, Aguinaldo somehow gets a redemption arc which further enhances the narrative, especially if you consider this movie as a part of a greater whole. Ian Glenn as American Leonard Wood brings his extensive training and credibility to his role and provides a steady level-headed counterpoint to Quezon's hot-headedness and petulance. Romnick Sarmienta's Sergio Osmeña, I feel, deserved more screen time, but he sounded like he was not allowed to open his mouth properly. Chris Villanueva as the journalist friend of Quezon, Joven Hernando, functioned as the conscience of the film. He is the one whom Quezon could never fool and was always ready to take Quezon down a notch whenever Quezon felt invincible. He is the light that provided the counterpoint whenever Quezon goes dark. Villanueva's performance deserves a supporting actor nomination. The rest of the cast also deliver praiseworthy performances, definitely helping the movie. For those looking for flaws, I could point out the rush and abrupt end to the movie. I feel that there were scenes that were cut that could have provided better transition towards the ending. This movie is going to be important because of what it brings to the table. It shows what politics really is, a game where principles are platitudes at best. It showed the wheeling and dealing often done beyond the eyes of the common man, similar to Scorsese's Wolf of Wall Street. I loved how Tarog showed this in a scene where Quezon was strategizing on how he could manipulate the lower house speakership vote using a top view of the session hall with the action sped up. The movie also showed how truth is always sidelined in these games of power and influence, with society today a battlefield between truth and misinformation. I was engaged by the movie's stance that the truth is never a simple thing. That is why I remember Winston Churchill's famous quote about truth. And in a society where people tend to think about truth and reality at a very absolutist manner, the movie gives us a fresh take, a take that should be seen and heard by the Filipino people. Quezon is Tarog's best work yet and deserves to be seen by all Filipinos. I am eagerly awaiting the next movie in the Bayaniverse, teased during the credits. I am sure Raul Manglapos would have smiled seeing the tease. So that's the review for Quezon, starring Jericho Rosales and directed by Jerrold Tarog. This has been Kulas for Tambe Reviews. Thank you for watching. Keep on playing.